Hey guys, hopefully that will be the end of the audio problems. Hopefully we're good to go. But we're going to jump right back in this. Don't forget to drop your questions in that little chat box. I'll get to them as quick as I can. I'm going to restate kind of what we just went through in the first broadcast, and that is that today the Reds and the Braves take on each other. Well, in about hour and 15 minutes, they will take on each other in Game 1 of the Wildcard Series. The Braves, of course, released their Wildcard Series roster today, and a lot of the moves on it were pretty interesting. Most notably to me is Christian Pache is on that roster. He is an outfielder on the roster. Whether or not he sees playing time or not, regardless, he is there. And Indira Inciarte, in contrast, is not. I think that is a very interesting point in this. I got a question about it in the first broadcast. I think with that, you have to take into consideration, regardless of Christian Pache, if he gets playing time or not, Ender Inciarte, I think, is going to be a thing of the past in Atlanta. Whether or not he's trade bait or not, the overall consensus to me is Ender Inciarte offensively has, he's never really performed offensively to a major league level for the past 3 years. Especially he hasn't been a star in the lineup, I'll say, and defensively. This year he's kind of fallen off. He hasn't really been the guy he was when he won 3 Gold Gloves, and you got to wonder if the Braves view him as trade bait, especially after this roster, was made. So get your postseason questions in. I'll be answering them until about 11:30 or so. Then I'm gonna have to get off of here. DB Cooper, yo Tyler, what's the best baseball you got behind you? Well, I have a lot of favorites over here, a lot of personal ones, but the one that would probably hold the most value, I'm just going to do it real quick, probably this one right here. And it is, let me pull it out. I don't like touching this one, but it's Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, Tony Perez, and Joe Morgan. That is easily my best baseball. I also have Derek Jeter. He's back there. But those would probably be the top two. If I'm being honest. I hate to bring a Reds baseball today, but that is the one that holds the most value. But I have a lot of the Braves over here too. So score prediction today, I'm going to say 5-2 Braves. I don't think Max Fried allows that much. I don't think our bullpen allows that much. And that might surprise you when I say 5, but I think the Braves are going to wear down Trevor Bauer. That is going to be the game plan. I think we all can kind of put that together. That's how they beat him last time they played him. They wore him down. They got him out of the game eventually. Whether or not that happens today, we're going to have to wait and see. But if the Braves win today, I think they run him out of the game somewhere between the 6th and 7th inning. And then they attack the bullpen. That's how they've won all year. If they're going to win, that's how they're going to do it. So I would say probably around 5-2. Again, it's so hard to predict a baseball score. I mean, if it was a football score, I might be able to give you a more accurate answer. But maybe 5-2 happens, and you heard it here first if it does. But again, Reds Braves today. Let's talk about the roster a little bit more. So of course we mentioned Pache is on this roster. With that said, the other notable thing to me is that Pablo Sandoval is on this roster. That's right. Pablo Sandoval had, I believe, 1 game throughout the regular season with the Braves, and he is now on the first postseason roster that we have, along with the other infielders, Ozzie Albies, Johan Camargo. We haven't seen him in a while. He's on here. Charlie Culberson is on this roster. That makes a lot of Braves fans smile. Freddie Freeman is on this roster. Austin Riley is on this roster. And, of course, Dansby Swanson, who's been so productive this year, is also on this roster. Pitchers, no real surprises here. We pretty much expected everybody that's on here. Ian Anderson, of course. Max Fried is obviously on here. And, of course, Kyle Wright, obviously starters that we have for Game 1, Game 2, and Game 3. But the bullpen is pretty much the same it's been all year. Why would you change it? It's been a pretty, great bullpen so far. The catchers that are on here, Darno Flowers, William Contreras, he had that first series because both Flowers and Darno were out with, exposure to COVID. So he had that first series as the Braves' opening day catcher. And, he performed pretty well. And it's good to see some of the prospects. Of course, Pache, Contreras, Try not to forget anybody here, but it's good to see some of the prospects that we have getting a chance here. And of course, Pablo Sandoval, that turned a lot of eyes when it happened. But I didn't necessarily mind the move. It surprised me, but I didn't really mind the move. It does surprise me that they're going with him so early. But a guy that's got that kind of postseason experience, maybe he's good to have in the clubhouse. A level-headed mind to have in the clubhouse. But other than that, that's pretty much the roster. The Reds are going to be tough. I don't think there's any doubt about it. They're going to be a tough game. But we're going to talk about it a little bit more as we gear up for this game. Of course, it starts today at 12 p.m. Make sure you tune in. I have the TV on ESPN ready to go for it to come on. But get your questions in. Of course, share this so that your friends can see it, other Braves fans can find it. And we're going to talk Braves here. Courtney Conaway, what's up with all those baseballs behind you? I have been collecting baseballs since I was a kid. I have baseballs. You only are seeing a corner of my office in here. I have all kinds of things on the walls, and I have a NASCAR tire over there. I have a lot of stuff in here. I'm a memorabilia guy. Those are college football helmets up here. They're signed by Saban, Pat Dye, Bobby Bowden, and then that's Dale Jr. I got Richard Petty up there. The baseballs are primarily Braves, so I'll tell you that. They're over here. These are Hall of Famers. There's Derek Jeter behind me, Earl Weaver, Steve Carlton. I got a lot of guys with some value. I have it's on the wall up there, but I have every Braves Hall of Famer on a signed baseball as well. So I am a very big Braves guy, obviously. I don't think that's a secret. But, I've been collecting Braves. I've been collecting Braves memorabilia since I was a kid. I'm actually sitting – I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm actually sitting in a Fulton County Stadium seat that is actually my desk chair. So that is it's – yeah, I love the Braves. I love baseball. It's what I like. And to be honest with you, I've been collecting since, no joke, I was about 7 or 8 years old. So it's just I don't really even try to get them anymore. They just sort of pop up in here, to tell you the truth. You know what? I'll show you one more piece. How about that? Let's show you. This isn't a Braves piece, but I think you'll like it. It's Miguel Cabrera on a helmet, full size. I got that a few years ago at spring training. That's a pretty cool one. So that, we'll talk more in the off season about all these things since it catches so many of you guys' interest. This is definitely an odd one, but what do you think would happen if they actually tried to turn Culberson into a pitcher? I don't like to put anything past Charlie. I think that would be kind of out of the ordinary. It wouldn't surprise me if the Reds got off to like a 7-0 thing, and they're trying to save pitching going into game 2, game 3. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw an appearance out of him, but I doubt that's going to happen in the postseason. Maybe next year, but I do think it'd be out of left field. What do you think is the player that needs to heat up, stay hot in order to carry the Braves through this tough series and beyond? The guy that's kind of the wild card in this whole scenario, the offense has obviously got to perform as a whole. One guy's not going to carry the offense. It's been multiple guys carrying the offense all year long. But I think the guy that's kind of the wild card in this whole scenario would be Kyle Wright. If the Braves get to a game 3, I am skeptical of what he can do, just because we've seen him kind of look flustered throughout the year. I don't know what the postseason environment's going to bring him. He would be the wild card in my book. Whether or not, he could perform exceptionally well. We don't know. He's a wild card. But that's the guy that I think would be the wild card. The guys that need to, quote unquote, heat up would be Ronald Acuna. Obviously, the Braves offense against the Red Sox weren't doing so hot. They just weren't performing well. They kind of look slumpish, but maybe that's because they already clinched the division and the mindset just wasn't there. I hope, they'll be able to perform today versus Trevor Bauer. Acuna is the guy that could lead off the game with a shot. If Trevor Bauer comes with a fastball in the first inning on the first pitch, Acuna, could take it deep. Who really knows how this game's going to go. But it is a matchup of great pitching versus a great offense, and, we're going to have to wait and see. As much as I can sit here and predict, it's whatever I read on paper has got to happen on the field too. While you're here, guys, make sure to like this video so that more Braves fans can find it. and of course, even more Reds fans. If so, you guys can argue in the comment section like you did on my latest video. Brandon Kirkwood, I must have missed you. Have you heard of Claude Passeau? I have a baseball signed by him. I have heard of him. He's kind of out of the loop here a little bit. He's not really a typical guy that I hear about. I believe he played like in the 30s, I want to say, for the Pirates maybe. Yeah, he had a pretty good career. I don't know how old he was. I doubt he's still alive, but that would be definitely a cool piece. To me, I know I have a lot of baseballs behind me, but to me, it's more along the lines of the things that are personal to me. A lot of the time, like obviously I don't know, I probably have 100 baseballs signed, honestly, like total. But the ones that mean the most to me are the ones that were signed in person. Let me see. Let's see if I can find one. Well, I got a Mike Foltynewicz one. He's not one to me personally, but the things that mean the most to me are the things that are signed in person. I have a piece over there. You can't see it. It's a Phil Necro piece. It's a letter he sent to me plus the signed picture. That means the world to me. So I don't know if you met Claude Passeau. That'd be pretty cool. But either way, that's definitely a cool piece. But to me, obviously, that's a cool piece. That was signed in person for me. I had a great experience with Miguel Cabrera as well. Dale Murphy. I got a Dale Murphy back there. He was very good to me. That's just a very personal piece, and I think those mean more to you than the ones that you would buy. I got some purchased stuff over there. This right here was purchased. All of these were in person, but most of this stuff is purchased. So the ones that mean the most to me are the personal ones. April M. Mills. Tyler, my name is Tyler. Okay. That's pretty cool. Hope you enjoy the show, and I appreciate you commenting. So let me know, guys, in the comment section what you think is going to happen today. Do you think the Braves are going to do it? Do you think they're going to win? They are seated higher. They are slight Vegas favorites. I'm not one to bet against the Braves ever. I would think that they got to show up. Obviously, they can't come in and start out late. Obviously, when I say that, they don't have to get runs early on. They don't have to necessarily cross the plate early on. I think they need to wear down Trevor Bauer, because you can't go into this game thinking that you're going to just mash against Trevor Bauer. That's not going to be the case. I think you got to wear him down. You got to have long at bats. You really got to limit strikeouts, and you have to extend. You have to extend innings offensively. You really need to come in and you need to have a Freddie Freeman style at bat. And I think we all know what that means. Less aggression, short swings, foul him off, and run his pitch count up. If he can get to 100 pitches at the end of 6 innings, the Braves are in good shape. Versus the bullpen, especially if Max Fried holds it to a 2-run game or less. The Braves could be in really good shape. But the Braves are such a wild card in themselves because, like I said earlier, Ronald Acuna could start the game off with a homer. And I'm not going to predict that because that's obviously, like finding a needle in the haystack kind of. But I think the Braves could easily come out early and perform well. But I think they could also, wear them down and have a late inning burst like they have so many times before. But let me know what you guys think. I'm waiting on you guys to comment. Let me know what you guys think about this series. But, I think Trevor Bauer is obviously the Cy Young Award winner this year. I don't think there's going to be anybody else, to even come close. I mean, he's got the best ERA, strikeout numbers up, and to me, he's pretty much carried the Reds to where they are right now, to be honest with you. Bauer is the guy who – he is the reason the Reds are here. He's not the only reason, but he's the biggest reason. However, Bauer is capable of losing. He's 5-4 on the year. And that's not because of him. That's because of run support. So will Max Fried hold them? I think so. I think the Braves really – personally, I wouldn't like them to carry it to a Game 3. I really would just like them to win it in 2. I think they can win it in 2. Ian Anderson, has performed exceptionally well this year. How will he handle the postseason? We got to wait and see. But Trevor Bauer, Trevor Bauer's a tough one. He is definitely a tough cookie, and they have pitching. That is one thing they have. I think the bullpen edge does go to the Reds, but starting pitching edge has got to go to the Reds. Norm Shaver, Bauer hates the Braves' approach against him. We are already in his head. I completely agree. If you haven't seen it, after this gets done, you'll have about a 30-minute gap. Go watch Trevor Bauer talking about the Braves. He spoke about it, I want to say last year when he was in Cleveland, and he basically just said that, they take too many pitches, right? They don't swing at everything, and that's what he hates. So the Braves really need to come in with some discipline. Again, longer at bats, foul some pitches off, get that pitch count up, and that's what eventually ran him out of the game last time. So Norm Shaver, I would tell you that he could adjust, and he could come in with a different mindset and really attack the zone. But if he attacks that zone, who's to say that Acuna, Marcelo Ozuna, and Freddie Freeman don't make him pay for it? So we're gonna have to wait and see. Chad Floor, would it be better for Kyle Wright to finish this series or start the next? I don't think we can think that way. Personally, I don't think we can think that way. To me, the perfect scenario would be that we get out in 2 and we move on in the postseason, because obviously that would be – I don't want to go to a Game 3. I really don't, because, we all know last year we saw what happened when we went to a Game 5. I don't want to relive that. I don't want to relive that stress, to tell you the truth. I don't think the Braves do either. If they can win in 2, that would be very good. And the thing about it is everything in the postseason is magnified. Everything. We saw yesterday, I can't remember the Astros game. The Astros, they easily could have lost that game. Sergio Romo was on the mound, gets a ground ball that he's looking for, and there's an error by the Polanco at shortstop. Something like that completely changed the game. And ended up, the Astros ended up winning 4-1 in that game. So we've seen postseason plays become magnified. Will that happen tonight? Probably. Everything in the postseason is magnified. I really think I'd like to win in 2 games. Whether or not it happens or not, the Braves could win in 3. I'd like to see it. Personally, I'd like to see it in 2, because, again, that gives the Braves a day off, and it gives the Braves, some more options with the pitching staff, and, I think it'd be good to limit how much our starters see. Aside from Freddie Freeman, everyone needs to take some pitches. I wouldn't mind seeing some takes. The only thing about that is if Trevor Bauer, gets 1-0 against everybody, or I'm sorry, 0-1 against everybody, that could lead to some problems offensively. That's the only thing I see there. I don't want to see anybody take some pitches down the middle, but I wouldn't mind seeing some low curveballs laid off for sure. Totally agree. Our 1 through 8 have deep threat potential. Reds have not faced an offense like ours. And, the Reds can score some runs. Do they have the offense like the Braves do? Absolutely not. Not based on this season's stats at all. I really think the Reds, again, it's one game, right? Like, you can't sit here and you can look at numbers all day. But at the end of the day, both of these teams have to show up. They both have to compete, and we're going to have to wait and see. But again, Trevor Bauer can lose to the Braves. That is a possibility. Do not, a lot of people that I've talked to over the past couple of weeks have basically, we're going to lose to the Reds. They already got it in their mind. We're going to lose to the Reds. And I think that's a lot of Atlanta, just a lot of Atlanta teams failing in the postseason, failing in the playoffs. Obviously the Falcons a couple years ago, and Super Bowl, the Braves last year in Game 5. I don't think it's that simple. I think you have to give this team more credit than that. And I do think that they can beat Trevor Bauer. We're going to have to wait and see if that happens or not today, but I do think they can beat Trevor Bauer. Pache over Inciarte on the wild card roster. Thoughts? I talked about this early on, but now that more of you are in here, I'm going to restate it. Yeah, Pache is on the wild card roster, and so is Pablo Sandoval, by the way. Charlie Culberson made that roster as well. I think the biggest thing with Pache being on the roster is, to me, this is what it says. Inciarte is not on it, right? Inciarte has not been a fundamental part of the offense this year. He has not been a fundamental part of the outfield this year. I think this says, who your future is. Even if Pache doesn't get playing time, which I think he will at some point, even if he doesn't get playing time, This says to me that we have more trust in the future than we do what we have right now in Ender Inciarte. I've said for a couple years now, I think Ender Inciarte is on borrowed time with a guy like Pache coming up, just because Pache can more than likely produce more offense than Ender Inciarte, who, all fairness to him, he can't hit a ball very hard at all, is what it seems like based on what we've seen this year. It just doesn't look good for Ender Inciarte in his future with the Braves, in my opinion. Acuna needs to hit up. I assume you mean heat up. And, yeah, I agree. If we're going to make it deep in the postseason, we're going to need Acuna to do something. But we do have threats all throughout the lineup, so don't forget that. I think the Reds will win if Trevor Bauer throws 6 or 7 innings of 1 or less run baseball. I disagree with you. I think Trevor Bauer is going to throw as long as he can. He's going to want 110 pitches if he can throw it. I think Trevor Bauer is really going to try to go deep into this game. But 1 run against this Reds team might be enough. Obviously, they can score 2. But you got to remember, we're going against Trevor Bauer, and that's great. But they're also going against Max Fried, who's a Cy Young candidate as well. He's 7-0 on the year. You can't underestimate Max Fried either. He's your number 1 right now. You got to have trust in him, and I think the Braves do, and I think they'll be able to produce against the bullpen. Don't forget how many times in the late innings the Braves have been able to produce offensively, and our bullpen is solid. I would imagine that we see the best of the best in the bullpen tonight. I really think so, because this game 1 is important. So I disagree with you. I think I think the Reds will win if Trevor Bauer goes 8 of no-run baseball, because that and the Reds score. But this is a game that has a lot of different aspects to it. You can't pick one thing and say they're going to win if this happens. There's a lot of things that can happen. And again, everything in the postseason is magnified. It's hard to say that they're going to lose because of one thing, or they're going to win because of one thing. They're going to lose because, multiple things. They're going to win because of multiple things. So don't forget that. I think there is more pressure on the Braves to win today because I don't see us sweeping the last 2 with Anderson and Wright. Courtney Conaway, I want to agree with you, but don't forget, this offense is good. I think they perform well against Luis Castillo tomorrow. Sonny Gray will be a challenge, but I think tomorrow the Braves offense is going to perform pretty well. I think that, game 3 is the one I'm most worried about. I would like to see them win game 1 and game 2, obviously, but for good reason. But, it's going to be a tough challenge. We're going to have to wait and see, though. We have a lot of excitement, though. Hey, guys, before we move on any further, while you're here, make sure to like this video. Make sure to share this video. And, of course, we want as many Braves fans to get to this channel as possible. And if you haven't already, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and like this video and subscribe while you're here. And, as always, I really appreciate it. All right, so who do we leave? Okay. My dad, actually. Charlie on Wildcard Series roster as well. Hope he gets a chance to do some clutch things. Yeah, I agree. I've wanted Charlie. When Charlie got DFA'd earlier this year, it kind of disappointed me, to tell you the truth. Mainly because I wanted him to be on the postseason roster, a guy that can play in so many different parts of the field. A guy, he's literally been a pitcher this year. Why not have him on the postseason roster? I thought it was ludicrous that I thought it was ludicrous that Charlie was not would not be on the postseason roster. Obviously, things have changed and he's now made it. I just hope he does get to do some clutch things. I would like to see him. If somebody's like 0 for 3 on the day, I wouldn't mind seeing him in some late inning at bats as well. Will the game go over or under the total 7.5? I want to say under, but this Braves offense can put it over. Betting on baseball is quite the challenge. Football, you can kind of gauge what teams are going to do. Baseball is so unpredictable. I think with the Braves, we haven't seen very many runs scored this postseason, but if there's a team to do it, the Braves can do it. They have 3 guys with OPS over 1,000 and stats out of this world this year. I would pick the over on the series and the under on today, if that makes any sense. We got the same last name. Yeah, we sure do. Welcome to the family. Gold Slick, Pache could have used all that playing time if they weren't going to use Ender. I don't disagree. I think they wanted to make sure Pache was ready. The thing with prospects is you don't want them to run out of options, right? And Pache could do that. If you continue to call him up, call him down. A guy that to me is probably nearing the edge of that is Bryce Wilson. That's why I was really hoping he would get it into gear this season, and he has. Hopefully that will continue. But that's what happened to Fulte. You call him up, you call him down too much. That's why he got DFA. Charlie got DFA. Call him up, call him down. I don't think the Braves want to see that happen to Pache. I think they want to make sure he's ready, and they want him to be that guy. And hopefully he'll have a postseason moment to remember. Maybe similar to what Andrew Jones did back when he came up and had his first postseason. If you're older, you remember and if you're younger, you need to go look up the highlight. How do you think Pache will play if he gets playing time? I think he'll be good in the field. Offensively, I have my worries, but who knows? A base hit is a big deal in the postseason. It's hard to expect so much out of a young guy like that. I mean, he's barely he's barely seen playing time this season, so to expect him to really pop off in the postseason just all of a sudden would be surprising. I don't know how much playing time he's going to have. He could have a start one day if of course if somebody gets hurt. But I think he's going to be more used for late inning defense. He may have an at bat here or there. That would be what I assume his role is going to be. Does it surprise you that? I assume you mean Hechavarria. Does it surprise you that Hechavarria got cut? Yeah, but no at the same time. I think personally, I'd rather see Charlie Culberson in that role anyway, just because you can put Charlie in the outfield, you can put him in the infield, you can put him on the mound, you can put him behind the plate. I think that's kind of where they made that decision. And of course, Hechavarria made a lot of errors over the past week or so that I'm sure helped with that decision. And I'm sure that's one of the decisions that the Braves took so long to make this roster. It didn't come out till a few 30 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago or so. So, it surprises me a little bit, but when you think about it, who do you really want in that spot? I think it's Charlie, and I think the Braves think it's Charlie too. Gold Stick is right. Pache could have used all that playing time. Yeah, I agree. I wanted them to do that earlier this year, personally. Ender wasn't doing it for me. I don't think he was performing very well all year long. So yeah, I agree with it. If we make it to the NLDS, who starts game one? There's a lot of options. There's no days off. If we win in two games, it'll be Kyle Wright. If we don't, they might play it by matchup. Bryce Wilson is a guy. Let me look at this roster real quick. So you got Bryce Wilson. You got let me see. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw Tomlin get a start, tell you the truth. I personally don't want that. At some point, we're going to have a bullpen game. Unless we go to like a four-man rotation, we're going to have a bullpen game. You could see an opener. There's so many things. The Braves have found ways to win all year long. I worry once we get into like a 5-game series or a 7-game series, I worry what they're going to do. That's why somebody asked me who I thought, gets the advantage in a 3-game series. I think the Braves do, just because it eliminates how many starting pitchers you have to use. And, it eliminates having to use 5 pitchers. We don't have to rely on that. We can save the bullpen a little bit, and it's all in from there. And, to me, the Reds have the pitching. The Braves don't, at least in the starting aspect. So yeah, I think the Braves get that advantage. And, who starts game one? Your guess is as good as mine. I would assume either Kyle Wright if we win in 2, and then Bryce Wilson if we don't. If he's even on. Hang on a second. Bryce Wilson is not on that roster. So I would say either Josh Tomlin or Kyle Wright at that point. But we got to get through this series first. There'll be a new roster. No, I'm not going to live stream the game. MLB rights do not allow me to do that. I'm not trying to get sued. So no, I will not be live streaming the game. Bryce Wilson's not on this roster, but he easily could be on the next. You could see, I'm just going to say it, even though I know it's going to start something. You could see a guy like Newcomb or Fulton-Evich get the call to start the game if we are in desperate need of starting pitchers. And there's more to choose from than that. We saw Tucker Davidson the other day, but he did not perform very well. I doubt he'll see a postseason. I just don't think they want to start off a guy's career like that. I don't think it'll be fair to him. But it wouldn't surprise me if you saw an old veteran with nothing to lose like Mike Fulton-Evich get a start or make an appearance if they need him in the next series. It still would not surprise me. Will it happen? It's unlikely, but it still would not surprise me. Pache will just be a defensive upgrade late for Markakis. In this series, yes, but he has got a lot of things ahead of him in the future. Don't make no mistake about it. No problem, Ray Hare. Are you going to live stream the game? No. How far do you think the Braves can go in the postseason? I posted a bracket yesterday, and I knew I was going to regret it as soon as I posted it. But I posted it, and I wish I could show it to you. But if you didn't see it, go look at my channel while continuing to watch this video. The bracket I posted has the Braves making it all the way to the NLCS and losing to the Dodgers. Now, that can change. I don't ever like to bet against the Braves personally because I know I'm going to regret it if they prove me wrong. But I think the Braves could make it to the NLCS. And when I say could make it, I think whoever wins this series between the Braves and the Reds could go far, at least to the NLCS. But things can change. If the Padres somehow, managed to beat the Cardinals and then to beat LA, I think the Braves could beat the Cardinals, and make it could beat the Padres rather and make it to a World Series. Things don't line up that way. I think the Braves can beat the Cubs in 5 games, and that's who I would pick in the NL wildcard race between the Cubs and the Marlins. But things have to line up the right way. If the Braves face the Marlins, heck, the Marlins, we've seen them all year. They got pitching. They could win. The most likely scenario is I think you see the ALCS looking like Tampa Bay and the Twins, and then I think you see the NLCS looking like Dodgers and the winner of this series between the Braves and the Reds. I'm not super confident going into this series just because of who we're facing on the mound versus who we have on the mound and things like that. But I think if the Braves can get past the Reds, they can go on to an NLCS with the Dodgers. What happens then? Who knows? And I've said all year long, once you get to a postseason, anything can happen. I really believe that. That's what I think too. Okay, yeah. How many innings do you think Max Fried will go today? I think he's going to go as long as he can. It wouldn't surprise me if you saw him go 100 pitches if he's pitching well, because you need to save the bullpen more than likely, because you're going into the next 2 games with 2 guys that have not seen very many innings in a major league uniform at all, and Ian Anderson and Kyle Wright, all respect to him. Ian Anderson especially has had a great year, but who knows how the postseason environment hits them. I do think it helps that they don't have fans in the park, because you don't have to there's not 50,000 people, chanting and yelling. So I do think that helps. But at the end of the day, everything is magnified. I think you need the bullpen tomorrow. So I think Max Fried is going to go 7. I could be wrong there, but I think it could go 6 and it could go to 8. I think you'll see him, on an average of about 7. But it's so hard to predict. If he comes out and gives up 3 back-to-back homers, he's out in the first inning. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think it will happen. But, you get what I'm saying. Everything in the postseason is so magnified. Markakis has been really struggling at the plate. I agree. I think you could, it wouldn't surprise me if you saw Pache, get a start in the outfield because of that, if I'm being honest. I've got Fried going 6, 2 times to the lineup, and the bullpen is in. Game 1 is a must-win. Agreed. Like I said, to me it's an average. If he's on the money, why not save your bullpen? He can't pitch for another 5 days anyway. Why not save your bullpen? Of course, you don't want to risk him getting hurt or anything, but you get what I'm saying. I think 6 to 7 is going to be about the length he goes, and then it'll be the bullpen. And the bullpen's dominant. We've seen it all year. They've had a little struggle here lately, but they've pretty much held together throughout this season, and I expect nothing less going into the postseason. Markakis sprinkling in a double every 10 to 15 at-bats is not going to cut it. I agree with you. It wouldn't surprise me if next year we see Markakis coming off the bench. By the way, I'm not sponsored by Mountain Dew, so don't get any ideas. But I think Markakis sprinkling in a double. I think you're going to see him. Markakis' influence is not so much in the lineup; it's in the clubhouse. I think we've seen that this season. I mean, think about where the Braves were when he opted out, and versus when he came back. So I think his influence. You want a guy like that in the clubhouse during the postseason. Do I think he should be starting every day? That's up for debate. We need to say the bullpen. Yes, we do. We have all wanted Pache over Ender all season, and we've never got it. So why now? I think it says something. I think it says that the Braves need offense, and Ender's not the guy. And to be honest with you, Ender has not been that great. Ender has not been that great in the field at all this season. He's been better than Marcell Ozuna in the field, but he hasn't been that great in the field so far, based on what we've seen. I think the Braves have made a decision, and I think they have to – basically they're valuing an all-around player over somebody that's just defense. And so far, compared to previous years, just mediocre defense. I think they're choosing the future over the past, and I think Ender is, of course, going to be the past as we move forward. So that's where I'm thinking their heads at. And I think personally, I think Pache is a little bit more valuable. Teams don't have so much of a scouting report on Pache. They don't know how well he hits. We don't really know how well he's going to hit. So I think that's part of it. And I mean, personally, I would have liked to have seen him all year long, just like you have. So it confuses me as well. Kirk Cubberly, really hoping Chris Martin is good to go. I trust him much more than Green Melanson, surprisingly. Yeah, he's got like a 1 ERA on the season. I'll tell you, it scared me when he went down with a groin injury, because that's what took him out last season, and we didn't want to see that, obviously. That would have been very unfortunate. But seems to be good to go. He said he was surprised at how well he was feeling, based on the pain he had at the moment of. But, I trust, to me, obviously Shane Green's had some rough times throughout the past couple of weeks. But my guy Shane Green, he just is. He was dominant for the majority of the season out of the pen. I was surprised they didn't move him to the closer role, to tell you the truth. Melanson, Melanson's a great bullpen guy, but to me, I like a hard thrower in the ninth, and I don't think Melanson, compared to Green, is that. So that's just to me, it's just personal thing. It's not necessarily a bad decision going with Melanson in the ninth. But yeah, I hope Chris Martin's going to be good to go. I think he's going to be good to go. I don't think they put him in if there was any concern. Do you think the DH will be in the National League next year? Oh man.